our audience is familiar with your companies. Why don't we get also familiarize our audience a little bit with you? So Carl Johan, can you tell us a little bit about your career trajectory that led you to the role you have at Anticimex?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I worked 15 plus years in different finance roles, implementing different systems, BI tools, etc. I joined on CMX 6 years ago, and I'm now the head of business control at the group. And I think what's interesting about the business control part of finance is that we are looking at the kind of historical data, analyzing that, the kind of forward-looking with the planning, and also the different dimension that we work with the the HQ, top-down, but also bottom-up with different KPIs, and that's where kind of Anaplan is in the middle of that. So that's where we are.
Great. How about you, Tim? Well, I started in banks and then also came from pension funds, mainly working with illiquid investments. And one of the funds we actually owned was CIP. And then I applied, I got a job. They were working with Anaplan. And for us, like I'm sitting in the valuation team where we are sitting of course, valuation, but also consolidation, different sensitivities. And I think in general, we use Anaplan in a very different way than a lot of the other customers. But that's also the interesting thing, because where I come from, normally we were used to looking back in time. So like we were using the present to explain how everything actually was. We're looking back in time. But now what we're actually doing is we're looking 30, 40, 50 years into the future to actually explain the present. So it's a very different way that we're actually working. And that's also one of the reasons that we choose Anaplan.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit more about the business challenge you're solving with Anaplan?
Yeah, so you could say for us it is that we really have to use a lot of sensitivities. Like we are growing so quickly and we have a lot of different challenges. Because what we do different compared to our competitors is that a lot of them work with what we call brownfield, which means that they actually buy projects when they're actually finished, where we actually develop them from the bottom, which means we have a way bigger complexity in that regard. And that also means that if the wind is not blowing or we might have a hailstorm, we have to be able to always predict what is going to happen to have a investor alignment.
Great. Exciting. Carl Johan, how about you? What is the main business challenge or problem you would
And I think it's similar to what people have described here this afternoon, that a lot of Excel-based work, time-consuming, error-prone. But I think for us, it has been also to be able to, I mean, we're a growing company. Like our CEO explained, it's like a very decentralized business model. So they have local entrepreneurs, different maturity level in different companies that we operate. So for us, of course, it's very important to be able to scale the finance department. Not to, I mean, we're doubled in size over the last 4 or 5 years. So instead of just adding people to the team, and we have been able to scale with Anaplan. We are the same amount of people in the finance department today, or the business control. Also similar to what other people talked about, we want to kind of increase the quality, the business insight that we give to our stakeholders, so the executive management, but also for ourselves doing the analysis. But I think the third, and I think there was actually one presentation that had the exact same three, I think it was Vestas that had the exact same three. It was also the efficiency part of I mean, we have 30 plus platforms across the globe. And if we can help them to save a bit of time every month, that helps the efficiency. So we have done like management reporting in Anaplan. So instead of people creating PowerPoints, we automate graphs, etc. So focusing on the kind of the insights. So those are the kind of the three: it's the scalability, quality, efficiency.
Great. And could you share a little bit how things were before Anaplan?
Yeah, it was the opposite. So, but no, but it was more kind of manual, much more. Someone has said it earlier as well, that it was more on demand. So, can you help us with this? And we run back to our computers and start to kind of run the numbers. Now it's more, we can be more proactive and kind of pull out the number in kind of and have them and know them beforehand. So much more manual, much more stress. Now we're kind of cut away some of these kind of peaks with the workload. So I think it helped. It has helped us a lot.
How do you think people are able now to work differently? That that information is at their fingertips.
I think I mean, it helps us in, just an example, now we have dashboards for our executive management team, so they can, so our CEO, who you saw here on the film, you see, he can pull up the numbers. We try to utilize the app as well, so he can actually pull up the numbers when he's traveling, when he's meeting people. We have 250 local branch offices, so for him, for us as well, it's impossible to know all the numbers, so he can kind of have it it's kind of on his cell phone or laptop or whatever all the time. So that has helped us a lot in the kind of decision making.
Great. Tim, how were things at CIP before Anaplant?
Well, in CIP, actually, a fun story was when I started, like right after I started about 2 years ago, we were in the Grofdik and we had to like stand up compared to when we started. And one staff stood up, then two, then four, and it ended up 70% of the people stood up in the last 2 years. So for us, it was not that much an if, but a win, because everything was done in Excel and we still use Excel a lot. And for us, we could not choose a software where we would not have the right flexibility. So for us, it was like, when we had Anaplan, we keep on having demands on what is fixed to solve. And our solutions is like so various. So we have so many different teams that use Anaplan and we solve so many different tasks. And we have a very huge model that will never be able to be done in Excel. So for us, it's just been on keep on improving our system, keep on keeping up with demand, and both make our partners, investors, and everyone involved happy.
And what would you say are probably the greatest value that you get out of partner working with Anaplan?
Of course, it's standardization. I think that's really important, but also the fact that we actually have billions of data points that is changing every quarter. So for us to do this in something like Excel, or also maybe have a system where we're not able to keep on improving it and building new solutions, I think that is what excels in Anaplan. So when we actually take Anaplan as a solution and we keep on building, but also have like a system where we can go back in time, track the changes that are being done, and also actually have a development environment where we can like test stuff and do stuff, but also have our key production environment that keep on working for everyone. That is like one of the best things for our situation.
Right. You, Carl-Johan?
I think we have, of course, we are more professional. I mean, at our business control FP&A team, we can kind of deliver a better kind of product. I think that's to our stakeholders. But also locally, we have implemented budget modeling in several of our different regions, and just to be able to, from the group, provide already not a pre-built model, but to say this is a product that we recommend. We can help you set it up, and to be able to also save a lot of money across the company by using one tool instead of having everyone running around kind of buying different things.
And also the integration with other softwares. I think that's really important as well. Like you have to be able to always kind of like get information from your data warehouse and different other places. Also Excel, like the integration that we have with Excel is also really important. So I think for that situation that people can actually sit, build a model in Excel and always extract the right data from Anaplan. That is really important from our end, that you don't have to like look around and find the right spreadsheet.
Great. So thank you for the positive words. Now, a little bit about the challenges. What were the greatest challenges you had to overcome to reach the success that you're describing to us now, Tim?
I think it generally was that we have a lot of stakeholders and also demand is always changing. So I think for us that we kept on finding out what we actually need. So what is actually needed, what is nice to have, and then start with what is needed, and then trying to like say, okay, when we actually solve these different steps, that we can actually provide a solution that we can push into production, and then our end users can start using it. Because like when you have a lot of different people that have to do different kind of analysis, then it's really important that you have a good solution.
Carl-Johan?
We didn't have either a BI tool or a planning tool at the group before Anaplan. So first, I think, at least for me, it was very important to have some quick wins, to have low-hanging fruits, to show that we are kind of, the investment that we are making is kind of making sense. So building some, we did a business planning tool that that helped us a lot, and we had the Bedford consultants making that kind of implementation. But I think also it was very important for us to establish our kind of in-house knowledge as well. So we have, I think today we have about 5 model builders. 2 of them are here somewhere, and they are kind of, it's a great combination to have that in-house and to also be able to run bigger projects with kind of external consultants. So those, I think, now we can manage most of it ourselves.
Great. Can you share a little bit about your future vision?
Yeah, I think we are a service company, so we're not production. To some extent, we do produce product as well, but so we don't have the same kind of demand planning or big models. But I think we can still work more to implement budgets and forecasting. So now we're running a project this year to improve the budgeting process. We are also, I think we can leverage the management reporting more to be able to do like monthly board reports, investor reports, maybe quarterly reports, and annual reports at some point as well, instead of having agencies and etc. Doing that.
Tim?
Well, I think especially automation, we really need to have to be able to move data around, but also like data diligence. When you have so much data that flows into your system over time and a reporter, it's really important that you really can trust that data. And also, I think we are really looking into building more reports and Anaplan so we can serve them live to our stakeholders. And then we are also trying to build smaller models that can actually support different functions. So in that way, we can actually have more people that like only have to do one task, and then all the models actually feed data between each other. And that's something that we are working a lot on.
Do you give an example of one of those smaller models?
Yeah, we have one that is used for more smaller sensitivities. So it's like we have like our bit model that have to solve everything, and like when people do changes, they have to see it in the whole big perspective. But like sometimes you only want to see certain KPIs, and in that situation, you really just need to only do a part of the calculations. In the other way, we also have a clone model, I think that is really nice. So we have our production environment, but every day we actually take all that data and push it into a clone environment. And in there, people can do whatever they want, and we know the data will reset the next day. So we have like no risk in that regard.
Is there like, what is the craziest thing you saw them do?
And people do a lot of stuff, and the fun part is you can go back in time and track it. So like I think everyone has to work with Excel, and at some point some numbers disappear or change, but here you can actually go in and find who did it. So it might be the same person who actually asked the question that did it like a week ago and forgot about it.
Interesting. Great. So I do have more questions, but being mindful of time, I would like to give an opportunity to the audience to ask some questions as well. Do we have some questions from the room? And do we also have a volunteer mic runner? Yes. Great. Questions? Then I'll ask one more.
Here we go.
We've been hearing about very good things about Anaplan. So maybe my question is about what do you think that Anaplan should improve based on what you have been using, and what it would make it better?
Should I start? Yeah, you can start. I mean, we have been a customer for 4 years or so, and I think the management report, as an example, when we started it, using it maybe 3-4 years ago, it was maybe not at the level that we wanted. So we kind of put that in the drawer for some time, and then we have seen that the product or the feature has developed. So now I think it's really good. So it has so that is one part. But also I think what we are kind of struggling with is more kind of the admin part. But of course that comes with any system that you implement, that someone has to be responsible for who is the user, who should have access to what, and so. But it's a different. I mean, we have to learn how to work with that. But that would be if someone. in Anaplan is listening. Admin, control. But I'm making notes for you.
Yeah, I think we're in general really happy that we have the solution because we can build so many different things. But like, I know it's been fixed in Polaris, but we don't have that model. But we had a big issue with all these zeros that like allocated a lot of space. We have to rebuild our whole model that has solved it, but I think that was one of our key issues. And then also what we do is quite heavy calculations, so that's also something that we have to work on because we do it in a specific way. But you can also say it's still 10 times faster than Excel, so it's comparing what you are actually, what you compare it with.
Yeah, thank you guys. Could you maybe just talk us through a little bit the human angle of implementing Anaplan, and did you experience some resistance from some people, and how did you overcome it?
Should I? Okay, I started after we implemented it. So I think our case is actually a good one because we only used external consultants. And that both meant that, of course, nobody actually knew the model when they left. So that was where I came in and I rebuilt all of it. So I think that was one of some of it. So I think personally that having internal resources is super great. And I think I did half of the model builder course. Then in 2 weeks, I start fixing bugs. So it is the really easy software to get into. If you work with any kind of programming or just are good in Excel, I think you already are really far ahead in terms of learning to use Anaplan.
Yeah, I think it's a bit similar for us. I mean, we have not built like super big models like some of the things we are seeing here today, but in the implementation, I think we had really good help from the consultants. But like I said, we also wanted to have the in-house knowledge so that we can fix stuff ourselves. So we want to be part of that. And of course, there's pushback here and there when you want to implement new change things. But I think we have also been a bit mindful of the fact that some of our companies are at a different maturity level than others. So we have started with the ones that are mature, that can that see the benefit of, example, a forecast to budget model. We have had them first, and then we're it has grown a bit organically. Someone hears that, okay, this is working good for us, and then we have moved on to the next platform or country. So it has been a bit different in that sense.
I think actually I'll take a shot at that question because I mean, in Anaplan, we use Anaplan to plan our business, obviously. And I mean, one of the things in the way we drive change management is in our business reviews, PowerPoints are not allowed as a for. Because with PowerPoint, you take the data out of the system, you manipulate it, and then you present how your business looks like. Well, we do this in Anaplan. So if I want to manipulate the numbers and say, here I've done some overrides, and here's the reality, the forecast, how the business should look like in the future, we just do it straight into the system. And I mean, I've been in the company 9 months. Yes, my first business review was very challenging because it's very uncomfortable to go there and sit in the tool that everybody can see. It's 100% transparency. I can't go in the night before and build some graphs to say, and this is how I'm going to make everything magic again. You have to show it in the data. But once you get there, the quality, I would say, of the business reviews that I'm in is totally different to many high-tech companies I've been in the past 20 plus years. I have one final question for the gentleman. What advice would you give to someone who is new to this, maybe encounters the world of Anaplan for the first time today? If so, in a way, if you were able to go back and start over, or if you would start with a totally white sheet of paper, what would you do differently?
Yes, so I think from our perspective, it was that when you have so many Excel spreadsheets that work together, you actually have a big bunch of spaghetti. And in this spaghetti, you have so many pain points that you have to solve. So actually trying to understand how everything should work together, but also just get into it, because the more you use it, the more you learn. So first of all, find out what you need and not what is nice to have, because then you know that it will actually be used, and that will also create better data diligence. But also just go into it and then try to find out what is actually the best method of making a strong model.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty good implementation and everything. So I don't think there's anything I would change dramatically, but I think in the way we have maybe to structure the data more from the beginning, but there was also a reason for not doing a big IT project from the beginning, because then it would have felt like a much bigger kind of implementation. So I would suggest to find some small things, like Tim said, to step by step try to learn the system and then kind of build it out after that need that you see. So not do a big bang or anything. That we didn't do that, at least.
And also your first bottle does have to be your last. Like you can just build one, and then if you find out you can build it smarter, then you can like use the old bottle to build the new one and just in an upgraded version.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, gentlemen.